This is a Hope 103.2 podcast.
You know, I was driving home late one night. I pulled over to the side of the road because the insurer called, and they call it all hours of the night. It's 9 p.m. and told me that my client had obtained their policy limits, and I just pulled over and called her straight away. And she's in tears and I'm in tears.
Welcome to She Wasn't Born Yesterday, the pod that fearlessly chats about all things affecting us ladies who are 40 plus fabulous.
Well, and the guys that want to know what we think.
Well, them too. I'm Janet Evans, advertising creative.
And I'm Jenny Woodhouse, semi-retired social worker.
In other words, you're busier than ever. We're J&J and we're super thrilled you're with us for She Wasn't Born Yesterday. Gorgeous. Look, sometimes I do feel as if we at She Wasn't Born Yesterday are a little bit city-centric. Perhaps the people that we deal with and the places that we visit on the pod are quite metropolitan.
Yes.
But today
with you.
We are chatting to the New South Wales Regional Woman of the Year 2025, whose name is Kirsty Evans. Great surname. But Kirsty, we feel very privileged and welcome to She Wasn't Born Yesterday.
Welcome,
Thank
Kirsty.
you very much for having me. This is amazing. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, and we notice that you are, in fact, sitting in your lawyer's office because you are, in fact, a lawyer. But whereabouts are you right now?
So I'm sitting in our office in Orange, and we also have an office located in Molong, which is where I live. But we're very fortunate. It's a beautiful day today, and the office is very bright and sunny, so it's a nice place to be.
Sunny downtown Orange. We love it.
Yeah, Orange is fantastic.
I absolutely love Orange. I just think anywhere that has, within a driving distance of 42 wineries is just like right on the money.
Oh, that is so
yes,
true.
You are onto something there. Yes. And don't forget Mount Canobolas. It's not that far away.
Is that good?
Fabulous place.
I've heard about it, but I can't pronounce it.
Drive up Mount Canobolas.
Right.
See the view.
But today, you received this incredible award, which is fantastic, and we're very, very excited to chat to you because, we're amazed you agreed to chat to us. But your story really started, I think, about probably 3 years ago. It was a Sunday night, specifically November the 13th, 2022, when a massive storm hit the New South Wales Central Coast, dumping a huge amount of rain, and the town of Molong, which is 30 k's from Orange, which is where you also live, was devastated by a flash flood that just destroyed most of the CBD and in fact damaged about 3/4 of the town. And a resident there actually said, what shocked us was the wall of water that was so ferocious, it burst all the shopfront glass windows and lifted and ripped apart the turf of the hockey field. It was like an inland tsunami. The water was all gone in the morning, but it left a trail of utter destruction. Goodness me, that is just scary.
Well, unexpected as well, being in the middle of the country, yes.
And Kirsty, were you there at the time when that happened?
Yeah, so our farm is about 10 minutes from Molong town. So we had already experienced, significant rainfall for such a prolonged period of time that we were laying in bed and we heard this downpour coming, and we just thought, what is going to be there in the morning? And we woke and we looked out our windows and we could see that our usual trickling creek had burst its banks and gone into crops and everything. So, but we're 10 minutes from town, so we knew the devastation would be immense in town. So my husband got up and immediately went in and started proactively, helping out the community that way. Then social media is a huge thing, isn't it? We see a shipping container floating down the main street. Like the enormous force of the water is just, I don't think anyone will ever get over that image.
Wow. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Terrifying.
Where did it come from? Like, did the river just burst its banks? Where did
we
the
had
water
100 mil of rain come down on us. Yes, in a very short period of time, and our stormwater systems overflowed, our guttering and everything just for businesses and homes and towns, they just weren't there to cope with that amount of water that was coming down on us. It was kind of the secondary event where the creek burst its banks in town But that amount of sheer water that's come into the, just fell down on the community, it's devastating.
My goodness. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we've kind of in Sydney lately experienced a lot of rain, haven't we? And
yes.
But I mean, it seems to be in regional areas where there's big rivers running through towns that it's just like devastating in terms of its destruction. But
and it's just infrastructure isn't built for that capacity of water to hold. So we're building on these communities where our groundwater and everything just isn't. It's not there. The infrastructure isn't there to hold that amount of water.
Well, it's Molong.
What do you mean? It's a main hub of social life. But you have won this award, and the award Regional Woman of the Year is chosen because you've made a positive impact on your community. Specifically, the award looks at how you've demonstrated innovation, overcome challenges, and shown unwavering dedication and leadership. You're a director, actually, and commercial and property lawyer with Cheney Suthers. Is that how you pronounce it?
Cheney Suthers.
Oh, Suthers.
You were so close.
I think that's a throat lozenge I was thinking of. But yeah. But so you obviously knew about all of this destruction. And then what happened with all of these businesses as they were trying to recover, including how they were trying to access some insurance claims? Talk to us about that.
The whole pro bono project for our firm started on day one. So as my husband went into town to help with the cleanup, I knew that the best way I could use my skills was to, lodge insurance claims. I'm a commercial lawyer. Insurance is a contract. These are my friends, my family, my community members. And so for the businesses, I thought we need these businesses to reopen. They're the community hubs. That's how we get people to go in, meet, share their stories, overcome the trauma. So if we can assist the businesses to reopen, we're really lighting that spark in the community again. And I went to my co-directors, Danielle and Alice. I mean, they were on the phone straight away, just seeing how things were. And I jumped on the phone and said to them, I want to do something here. And, they were, no questions asked. What do you need? We're here for you. We'll dedicate. I had a whole paralegal dedicated to assist me and the community in this scheme that we took up, and we ran with it with full support of everyone in the firm. And it was it's tremendous. Every time we were able to overcome a denial, it was a collective cheer. Although it was Megan and I doing the grunt work, if you will, the entire firm had to continue on. So we could do the work pro bono. It's a collective effort from everyone here.
But so why were these claims being denied?
So for business policy claims, the insurers were relying on a technical argument in the policy, which is the definition between what is flood water, which is excluded, and what is stormwater, which is included. So,
but surely a flood is caused by a storm.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the pub test.
Yes. I spend a lot of time doing pub tests, just for research purposes.
So effectively, insurers won't cover you for water that escapes the natural confines of a creek. But if it's water that enters the premises from a storm, then that is an insurable event. And so our job, our task, was to advocate for our clients to maximise their potential claim from stormwater versus floodwater. And that is exceptionally hard when you have over 2 metres worth of water running through your premises to determine what was storm and what was flood.
Oh, my goodness. Can you talk us through from the first time you make an application all the way through to when someone actually gets a payout from the insurance company? How long does it take?
I mean, do we have a long time on this podcast?
Yeah, we've got a couple of days, so take your time.
Great.
Yeah, weeks. As long as it's pro bono, of course.
Yes. It's awareness. So from the day we lodged the claims, and some of them we lodged that day. I can remember lodging one on the day. So we start the day after the event occurs, and that's an initial claim form. From that process, then the insurer will send out a loss adjuster and a hydrologist. So the hydrologist's job is to determine whether it was stormwater or floodwater that enters the premises.
Can I just interrupt you right there, Kirsty? Because what is stormwater a different colour from floodwater? I mean, how is someone going to figure out that difference when it's
Absolutely.
water. It's all water.
It's all water. And that is the biggest advocacy that we could make was to show that our clients were not in these premises at the time they flooded. If they were, we wouldn't be talking to them. 2 meters worth of water went through. So it's all skeptical. It's all based on knowledge and understanding. And then I'll turn to another thing that the insurers rely on in hydrologist reports, that there's no expert code of conduct for a hydrologist. So there are limited capacity of hydrologists throughout Australia, and they're dealing with northern rivers at the same time, other flood events, and they're stretched. So we're seeing reports that are turned out with errors, incorrect dates, and that's ultimately what the insurer will accept or decline your claim on. And so it was our job, to pick apart those hydrologist reports and really build a claim for our client.
So a hydrologist report comes in and you think, this is not going to work for my client. How long will it take you to pick it apart and send it back in to the insurers?
So we had the benefit of doing the pro bono scheme for local businesses. So we were able to look at a wide variety of hydrologist reports, because practical sense would be that the insurers send out one hydrologist to do the main street, which is, not a huge main street. Let's talk about it's regional Australia. But they sent out different hydrologists, even if they were the same insurer. They sent out different hydrologists at different points in time. So we collectively got those reports together. We pegged, they give you a height in the report. So 5 mil is stormwater, balance to the 2 meters is floodwater. Another premises might have 30 centimetres of stormwater. We were able to look at the height data from each of the premises in the street and say, based on your own experts, you're getting it wrong. The different slopes of the street had different measurements. And so we use that collective data to form a case for our clients. But this process is months in its working. So by the time we get these together, we do investigations with the actual policyholders. We send back the arguments. We're looking at, I think it was 12 to 18 months before we started to see payouts on claims. And by that chance, people have lost that amount of income if they haven't reopened. It's significant.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed,
I was wondering that, what the time frame was. But I mean, effectively, would some people have actually gone out of business because they just couldn't keep going?
Yes. So we had many businesses that were unable to continue. And then we had the other businesses who drew off their own individual savings or their farm businesses to reopen. And so that is a community service in itself. So they're pulling money off their own savings to reopen, so that service is available for the community. You're thinking post office, cafes, gymnasiums, they're the hubs for vulnerable people to go to and to talk. And we know that collective knowledge and experience is what resilience is about.
What was the psychological, emotional impact on the community of Molong?
It was a twofold event, one from the initial destruction and secondly when there was a denial.
Oh, yeah.
So people would go through that individually because they would have their own claim denied, but then go through it communally because they're all getting claims denied.
And did they reach out to you because they heard that you were doing some work in the area?
So I effectively, after the first client that we decided to assist, I said to those clients, please let me know if there's anyone else. I'm happy to help. And then I just started getting these phone calls and it grew in scale. And we, as I said, we focused on businesses because it's the same type of policy. We knew we're a regional firm. Where can we make the biggest impact? And that's what we focused on. But it's not as if we didn't then not assist homeowners if they came through under our nose or under our radar. I was actively reaching out to metro law firms because we know they have large pro bono schemes to try and direct that assistance. And that worked really well as well. But yes, it did grow. At one point, I think we, had over close to 12 to 15 files opened on a pro bono basis for our firm. And if you're thinking 12 months to 2 years for that to be carried out, significant investment. And it's heartbreaking at times. The first policyholder who received a denial, he was very overwhelmed. because she knew that her first one in would have a ripple effect for the remaining business owners, and how she was feeling was how they were all now going to feel as well. And she really was really impacted by that.
Yeah, I can understand that. And so many of the business owners, were their homes affected as well by the floods?
So we only had a couple that had the double events.
Whammy.
Most of them were farming families. They had properties that were out of town, that were located out of town. And when I say they weren't affected, they were affected in terms of crop and infrastructure. But we're talking about some families who both parents worked in the business. So you've lost 100% of your income.
Of course.
So, Kirsty, how many pro bono hours approximately do you think you spent on these claims, and what sort of dollar value would that be in lawyer speak?
Yeah, so the initial period was November through to December. I don't think we actually started recording until we were back in February, and then we started recording pro bono hours just so we could get a grasp on what our initial investment was in all of this, because I mean, it's important, I think, to reflect to our business and our staff as well, to show this is what you have given back to that community. And they all take sense of pride in it, because they should. They're here every day answering the phones, reliving the stories, drafting witness statements. So I think we recorded just over 250 pro bono hours, which is close to $200,000 worth of professional service fees. But I'd give it all away again in terms of what we can achieve, because the achievement is exponential. Even if it's just us championing that community to go on, it's great.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
But that wasn't all you did, actually, was it, Kirsty? Because you also went to the 2024 parliamentary inquiry, and they've actually adopted several of your findings in their recommendations. What did you do at that inquiry? We have to know.
Who ran the inquiry? Let's start there.
The House of Economic Standing Committee, so ministers, federal ministers. It was an initiative of our federal minister here in the region, Andrew G. And so he brought the assistant treasurer out to Molong, and I met with the assistant treasurer. And the day after, he went to Eugowra and announced there would be an inquiry. At that point in time, we know that change occurs when people share their stories. That's how we get people to listen. That's why, your Metro readers or listeners will resonate with the stories, because they want that connection. However, we're 2 years post-event. My clients are tired. They've been through a lot, and I expect them to come and retell their story again. It's a lot. And so I sat down with a lot of them and discussed it, and two of them put themselves forward and said, I will tell my story. I need to for the change. And a lot of them said, well, Kirsty, can you help us tell our story? And I thought, we've made this investment in our community. We've seen this change. We've seen them get back to our business. What happens next? So that's where the inquiry comes in. So I was able to draw on those collective stories, the systemic failures that we'd seen across the board, give those case studies and make recommendations, which was really positive and empowering at that time.
So just clarifying, the inquiry was into the insurance company's responses. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. And was it able to achieve some change in terms of how insurance companies respond to something like this?
Yes. So this is where I take issue with the inquiry. I'm trying to be diplomatic. So I appreciate the inquiry and everything that has occurred. I appreciate the findings that were recommended by the Standing Committee on Economics. I have written to the committee and followed up, because what is meant to occur after an inquiry's findings are reported on is there's a period of about 6 months when the government has to respond. So the report was handed down in October 2024. We still don't have any response from the government. And since then, we've had another North Coast flood event, Cyclone Alfred, other disasters, all of which these recommendations, if they were put into effect, would have assisted those policyholders who are now having the same challenges with their insurers. So I really take issue with the fact that the government puts a guideline on how long it has to respond, being the 6 months. But if you look at the table of responses, they never come out in the 6 months. And I've followed it up with the government on several occasions, and they continue to roll over the time they have to respond. So right now we have a set of recommendations, but we have no government response to the recommendations.
So just clarifying again, state government or federal government?
Federal.
Federal government.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wow, that is deeply, deeply frustrating. So how many, are there good news stories to come out of this? Like, so how many businesses and properties have managed to rebuild since you stepped in to help?
So every policyholder that we were able to assist, we either overturned their decline or increased their payout in terms of the partial decline. So we were able to assist almost all of our clients hit their policy limits. The biggest problem with the policy limits were, however, and this is one of the recommendations that were adopted in the inquiry, was this part in the Insurance Contracts Act that refers to averaging provisions. So if you are a business owner and you take out a policy of insurance, you will set out what your business impact will be for a period of months. And that's the part where you're unable to trade, the loss of profit, your loss of expenses that you need to cover for a certain period until you can get back on your feet. That insurance is incredibly expensive. And so what we were finding is that many policyholders had underinsured on that basis because it was expensive. They calculated the minimum requirement that they had to pay during the interruption period. And then when it came to a claims payout process, the Insurance Contracts Act allows insurers to effectively penalise an insured person for being underinsured. So if you have an interruption policy of $26,000 and you meet and exceed that amount, you can then be penalised. So we saw penalties of up to 50% of a policy coming in because the insurers could rely on that averaging provision under the Insurance Contracts Act.
Right. Wow.
So one of the major
Who would have thought an insurance company would want to set up something like that?
Who would have thought an insurance company would sign people up to policies that they're ultimately not going to pay out on? It's a very cynical way of looking at life, isn't it?
It's bizarre.
Kirsty, have you seen Erin Brockovich, that movie?
Yes.
You sound a bit like her.
That's true. Kirsty, if folks are listening to the podcast and they've been impacted, from the latest floods and floods that have happened since you've been giving your recommendations to the parliamentary inquiry, and they're hearing that those recommendations have not been put in place yet, who should they hassle? Who should they call? Who should they write to?
Absolutely. So it's a kind of a four-pronged effect, if I would reach out to my local member, reach out to my federal member. I would contact the Reconstruction Authority through Service New South Wales, and I would reach out to my bank.
Beautiful.
And I'll explain why on each of those. So local and state members are the ones who will tell your story. They will advocate on your behalf and they will tell your story. They will assist you to obtain contacts within insurance companies that you otherwise wouldn't have access to. So definitely they're a member for you and they want to help, is my experience. The Reconstruction Authority through Service New South Wales, there are grants that are available to people and they're immediate emergency disaster payments. So I really encourage people to reach out to Service New South Wales and see what is available for them. We unfortunately have some periods of time that pass and deadlines close and funding's been exhausted, so people might miss out on that. So if you can jump in and chat to Service New South Wales, it's great. And your bank, we had a very lovely story regionally where our local bankers in Orange dipped into disaster recovery payments and made those available to some residents in the Molong area. And they also assisted us to put moratoriums on loan repayments so we could pop those on hold during the disaster recovery process. They're practical solutions that you can take from your home on a phone.
That's amazing.
Excellent.
What, the bank actually paused the repayments? I'm just struggling to get those words out because it's just so sort of foreign. But Kirsty, how do you think your work will affect insurance claims for the future for the region? Are the insurance companies a bit scared of you now, and kind of have they actually changed anything?
Yeah, so we have had a scenario where brokers are becoming more involved in the space. And I do think there is a place for insurance brokers, especially regionally. Our policyholders, and I'm sure it's Metro as well, we want to see people, we want to explain our businesses. It cannot be a set and forget process. So we're working with clients to put them in touch with the right people moving forward. But that's where the award and advocacy really shines a greater light on the regions, because that's how we know we can affect change. So if we're unable to do it through the policy government channels, which we're still pressing, I still follow up continuously with that. We're doing it from a social standing point of view, where it's making community connections. We've been hosting events in the other regions to show what that process looks like and be more proactive in our planning for future disaster recovery efforts.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much for doing that.
Kirsty.
That's brilliant.
I've got a question. Did someone sneaky in your office put you forward for New South Wales Regional Woman of the Year?
Yes.
Was it, hang on a minute, name Alice or Danielle?
It was Alice. Alice is our biggest cheerleader. Well, Danielle and I, we're all each other's cheerleaders, but Alice is yes, she's an exceptional person. She put me forward for the award. So I was also recognised from the New South Wales Law Society same year. And the Law Society president was really putting a focus on pro bono schemes, and having one in the regions really stood out. And so Alice thought that this is a effort that deserved, recognition beyond the profession, because we know there are many professionals in the regions who are doing wonderful things. There's some really smart people out here, let me tell you.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt at all.
It can really drive change with that recognition, because it opens lines of communication, which is really wonderful.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Did they give you a trophy, a gold medal?
Do you find out, like before do you go to a ceremony or something?
Yeah.
Do you find out
you
beforehand?
Go to a ceremony? I had no idea.
No idea?
I had no idea. No, I was really in Sydney for a court attendance for a commercial matter. And so the award ceremony was at the convention centre, International Convention Centre, and I had to go between there and the Supreme Court up on Phillip Street in Sydney, and it was really a real juxtaposition, because I was sitting at a table surrounded in this glamorous room. There were so many people. It was an exceptional morning. And then I was off to court and really back on my professional hat straight away. So it was
how odd.
Yeah, wow. Did you have to make a speech? Were there any Molong residents there for the presentation?
I had to make a speech.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was during the time when Cyclone Alfred was wreaking havoc. So it was quite topical, and I really used that platform as a bit of a shout out to other professionals in the region as to what they could do to band together. I didn't have anyone with me, unfortunately. I actually didn't think I would win, if I'm honest. I think that
Kirsty.
I know, and because I had to shuffle off to court straight away, I had a very lovely moment in court. However, His Honour invited counsel and solicitors to chambers for morning tea, and that doesn't happen very often.
Wow.
And the barrister that I had briefed on the day, he brought it up at morning tea. So I received I received a lovely accolade from His Honour at that point in time, and it was very lovely. Yeah,
that is very nice.
It felt very
fabulous.
Very nice.
And is this the sort of thing that drives you in your role, like in law, to keep championing people and causes and injustices, I guess?
Yes. We have a firm that practices in many different areas of law, and some of it can be quite heavy. We're dealing with people often at their worst. So being able to channel our work and our sense of accomplishment into something that is really inspirational and can give that is what keeps us going. So our firm is, it's exceptional. We have the brightest minds here. We're surrounded by really smart and intelligent people, and each and every one of them want to be involved in something bigger. So we're able to give back in a way, and that's a sense of accomplishment for us.
That's beautiful. And what does the main street of Molong look like today?
Great. We have businesses reopened. We have some buildings that are irreparable and they still stand. And I understand from a building developer perspective, that's unfortunate. So there are a couple that didn't reopen, but otherwise it's vibrant. People are shopping, people are out and about. With Robbie from Molong Stores, the hat store, we're having a fight internally as to who's the biggest champion of Molong. So, watch out for Robbie.
Will do.
But it's beautiful. We've got great places to eat, great places to visit. It's just that sense of community that brings us together. And it's a very wonderful place.
That's lovely. As you walk down the main street of Molong today.
Are you a celebrity?
Well, not just us. You a celebrity because, of course, Kirsty's a celebrity.
Yeah.
But what's your emotional response? Do you have a sense of pride in that? How do you feel walking down that street?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a bit of that imposter syndrome sometimes still because they're such great champions. So I don't want to detract from how much they did the work. They reopened. I together with Cheney Suthers, just helped them obtain what they should have got in the first place. But one of my most heartwarming moments is one of the clients who I was driving home late one night. I pulled over to the side of the road because the insurer called, and they call it all hours of the night. It's 9 p.m.
Great.
The insurer called and told me that my client had obtained their policy limits, and I just pulled over and called her straight away. And she's in tears, and I'm in tears, and now I see her all the time, and it's just a beautiful connection.
Oh,
that's beautiful. Yeah.
Wow. And so are you doing more pro bono work for different types of causes now, or is this an ongoing passion for you?
It's an ongoing passion for the firm. So we've recognised after doing that project that it's something that community involvement is something that really enriches us and gives us that sense of social justice. And I honestly think that through disaster-related events, that we will need to draw on that social capital in order to keep going, whether it's agricultural related or small business related. We really need that sense of giving back to the community, and that's how things continue to thrive and prosper. But for the firm as a whole, whether it's pro bono in terms of disaster recovery, pro bono in terms of my business partner Danielle has done some wonderful things in the estate litigation space for people who need assistance that way. And of course, there's family law, which is an ever-evolving beast itself. Yeah, as a firm, we've really ingrained pro bono work in our business planning, which is exceptional.
Goodness me. I didn't
wonderful.
know that a thing existed like this.
Yeah, it's
so thank you.
It's fantastic.
That's really interesting.
Kirsty, you have inspired us today, not only because you're such an incredible person and your firm, Cheney Suthers, is incredible and so community spirited and big hearted for lawyers, which, like advertising people or used car people, don't get a great rap sometimes. But you guys are incredible, and we think you deserve every single second of that New South Wales Regional Woman of the Year 2025 award. Congratulations. Again. And
Absolutely.
Thank you for spreading the word and for joining us on She Wasn't Born Yesterday.
It's been wonderful. It's so easy to chat to you both. Thank you so much.
Janet, we love hearing from people, don't we?
Even more than I love you.
So to leave us a message, go to hope1032.com.au, She Wasn't Born Yesterday podcast, and hit us up on the little get in touch box at the bottom of the page.
Doing that right now.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Hope 1032. Thanks for listening.